Welcome back to the Daily Drum on WHUR and Sirius XM Channel 141. This is the Insight segment. I'm Harold Fisher. This is day 29 of the federal government shutdown. And for many families and small businesses across the D.C. region, the struggle is getting harder by the day. Nearly a month without paychecks means rent is late, savings are gone or almost gone, and the ripple effect is spreading fast. Restaurants are empty, small shops are losing customers, and local economies that rely on federal workers are being pushed to the brink. Well, tonight on the Daily Drum, we'll talk with the D.C. Chamber of Commerce about how long our community can hold on and what it will take to bounce back. My guest is Chinyere Hubbard, President and CEO of the D.C. Chamber of Commerce. Chinyere, thank you so much for joining the program. Again, I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Harold. It's a joy and honor to be back on the show.
Well, thank you so much. Not so much a joy for a lot of people, unfortunately. As I said, we are nearly a month into the shutdown. What are you hearing from small business owners across D.C. and the other constituents that your organization, the Chamber, serves?
Yes, well, the Chamber is the primary business chamber and organization in DC. We've been around for 87 years, and we understand that this federal government shutdown is having a major impact on our local economy and workforce. And while the federal government is shut down, and there are many displaced federal workers, and they're experiencing furloughs, DC is open. And so we are here, to support our city agencies that are continue to operate. We are still a top destination with world-class attractions and institutions and restaurants and theaters and neighborhoods and one-of-a-kind events. And we are finding ways to still support, our local services and schools that remain open. We know our business community is resilient and continues to adapt and push forward. Our students are in class, our parks will be open, but we do know our small business owners are feeling that ripple effect and these stalled operations, because we do see the decrease in customer traffic for restaurants and retailers. But we're working closely with the mayor's office, with council members, with the deputy mayor's office, with Department of Employment Services to support employers and employees during this time. There are opportunities with bridge financing and micro grants for small businesses. We are collaborating with regional leaders. We launched a Talent Capital AI platform with Build Within, Greater Washington Partnership, COG, and the Board of Trade, and many other organizations to support these federal government workforce transitions. And it's an AI-powered program that provides job matching, training, and reskilling resources across our region, not just DC, but Maryland and Virginia. And it's talentcapital.com, talentcapitalai.com. So we are also here to support guidance for employers on maintaining payroll and navigating grant programs. So at the Chamber, we are here to really pivot and try to find ways to look at opportunities amidst some of this chaos. And that means executing proactive strategies to change course.
So my question was, what are they telling you?
What they're telling me from the business owners, they're, a couple of different thoughts. Some businesses are doing fine and have adjusted their sales. They've adjusted their business models, marketing strategies, and have been able to weather this course. Some are saying they've been here before. We've seen this kind of economic uncertainty, and so have still found a way to survive and thrive. Then there are several business owners who want to hear about the resources that we're providing and where we're working with the mayor's office to provide, because they are struggling and they are with the loss of federal grants, with the potential of healthcare premiums going up. So some are taking a pause and just doing a wait and see approach, and some are finding ways to get additional access to capital. So
you said some are doing fine. I'm interested in knowing what kind of businesses are doing fine.
Some of our tech companies are still doing well. Some of our professional services organization who provide services to other, nonprofits or corporations are still doing fine at this point.
But the others that are not doing so well.
The others that are not doing so well, that's where we provide those resources. And that's where we're looking at the micro grants for small businesses, bridge financing, and for those who are losing revenue. And just as where we support our businesses with our partnerships with the local government agencies.
I mean, what kind of businesses are not doing well? I mean, you said the other the tech companies are doing well, but which kinds of businesses
some
are
of
not?
Our smaller businesses, some of the retailers, some of the restaurants, some of smaller organizations and businesses who rely on federal government grants and funding. Some have lost those, but others have found ways to support each other, to collaborate with other corporations, with other businesses, and find access to grants, to financial assistance, to, whether it's permitting support and regulatory guidance. So they are able to find opportunities amidst some of the chaos and uncertainty.
How significant is the financial hit to the city small business community specifically? I mean, we are 29 days in, as I said. You may remember, obviously, you were not in charge of the DC chamber back then. This is still a relatively new position for you, but 34, 35 days, depending on how you look at your watch from back in 2018, that was, in a word, it was horrible. It was horrible. People were not ready for this. The only thing that some may say was that it was in 2018 a foreshadowing of what not only DC saw, but the nation saw for the pandemic.
Yes.
So when you talk about now at 29 days, how would you characterize the impact of this shutdown?
And you raise a good point. I mean, this is now post-pandemic, and some companies and businesses are still reeling from some of those effects. Some restaurants, some businesses are still trying to rebound post-pandemic. But despite a lot of this national uncertainty, we do know our business community remains strong and innovative and forward-looking. And so while these are tough times, some of us have been here before, as you mentioned, and we've made it to the other side. And so across all 8 wards across the city, businesses are finding ways to grow and adapt, showing that the economy extends far beyond federal government operations. And so that's why those partnerships with DemPed and the mayor's office and our local government agencies, the Department of Insurance, Securities and Banking, and DSLBD, to help employers and businesses access this financial assistance that they need and permitting support. And for those who may have lost positions in federal government and want to start new businesses, we're here to support that entrepreneurial ecosystem and startup community, making it easier for them to do business, cutting down barriers that may make it difficult to get a license. So that's what the Chamber is here to support. Any business development resources and other connections. For example, we're working to support the Vitality Fund and the Growth Fund that have invested.
What is that? What are those?
Those are funds that the mayor has created as part of her growth agenda that invests more than $1 million in high growth industries that is creating jobs. And those high growth industries are technology, life sciences, and professional services. And there's more information on the Deputy Mayor of Economic and Planning and Economic Development's webpage. You can find more about that Vitality Fund and Growth Fund. But we do know these small businesses are the backbone of our economy. And so we really, at the Chamber, are committed to making sure they can grow and thrive, hire locally, And we know that, we're not just weathering this storm, but we have to lead this way forward.
Let me ask you about minority and women-owned businesses. Someone would have to be living under a rock to know that since January, that anything having to do with people of color or any marginalized groups has been it's been a difficult time. And even for those who are sticking to business, how do you believe Black-owned businesses or women-owned businesses have had to make changes even within the last 30 days or so?
Yeah. Well, as an African American woman, one who comes from a family of small businesses, I have close friends who have small businesses. It has been challenging for those of color, and they've had to, with the scaling back of DEI initiatives, they've had to adjust some of their messaging, adjust some of their narrative, and find other ways to still market their business. But what we do here at the Chamber, and I encourage those types of businesses to join the Chamber, because we have committees and we do work that supports businesses of color, African American women, business owners, and we're only as strong as the ecosystem around us. And so it's important for us to collaborate. Again, those partnerships are critical with the city agencies, with the local government. We're here in an educational mecca as well. We've got so many highly skilled, highly educated workforce, and we want to be able to keep all of those people here in our city and in our region. And that can also, we can leverage that to support our businesses as well. I mean, Howard University, I'm a graduate from Howard University, and I know there are incredible business owners and entrepreneurs coming out of that university. And so we want to make sure that we are collaborating with other organizations to give them the support and resources and tools they need to survive and thrive during these challenging times.
Do you have any thoughts about the kinds of strategies that minority or women-owned businesses have to specifically use to navigate a possibly, hostile political environment? I mean, let's be honest. Do they need to do they need to change their website and just show a lot of white folks? Do they? I'm not
going there.
I'm not joking.
You need to be authentic. No, you have to still be authentic to your mission and to your goal and to your objectives of your organization. I wouldn't say go that far, Harold.
but you understand.
I know what you mean.
Yes. That when whether we're talking about business or whether we are talking about how can I say it, whitewashing your home if you want to sell it, and looking at the realities of where we are. Certainly one would say that when it comes to business, the only color that is important is green. but that's not where we are, and the shutdown is making things that much more difficult.
Yes. And I will say, I think, again, that companies should still be authentic and true to their mission. And I'm seeing that with a lot of larger companies and smaller companies. Some may be changing their nomenclature. Some may be changing the language and messaging on their website, finding other words to use to describe some of the work they're doing. So that way they can still apply for those grants with this new administration. So they're being very creative in their storytelling and how they promote and market their business. I'm seeing that. And again, as I mentioned earlier, they're executing a strategy to change course, but pivot to support these emerging industries that are positioned for growth. And again, that's AI, that's cybersecurity, security. They're finding ways, that's tech. We're really building, that's sports and entertainment, building a really strong tech ecosystem in DC. And I'm seeing companies and business owners lean into that.
Hmm. I need you to hold on for a moment. I'm going to take a really short break. We want to remind our listeners that you can hear this and every edition of the Daily Drum Insight segment via podcast on WHUR.com. The original Quiet Storm with Raheem Devon is next on WHUR-FM. This conversation continues on Sirius XM channel 141 and 96.3 HD2 in just a few seconds. Welcome back to the Daily Drum on Sirius XM channel 141. I'm Harold Fisher. We continue our conversation about the impact of the federal government shutdown on local businesses and the local economy. My guest is Shinyeti Hubbard, President and CEO of the DC Chamber of Commerce. One of the things that is really impacting the DMV economy, and I'm sure you're seeing a lot of this, is that people have been furloughed and some people have been laid off. There's always the threat of more layoffs, and people are looking for jobs. Talk to me about the impact of this pool of highly skilled, highly talented people who now must look for jobs, and they're competing against, in some ways, the same people that they worked with.
Yes, and that is a reality. And but we want to be able to keep those highly skilled workers here. That's a talented pool of workers who have been furloughed. And how can we work together as a business community to keep them here in DC, to keep them in the region, to keep their families here, so they don't need to. We don't need to see an influx of out migration. And so that's why we've partnered with these business organizations to create a platform, a one-stop shop, so they can find jobs and opportunities. And that's the Talent Capital AI platform that is led and supported by the mayor and by other organizations to provide resources and job matching and training and reskilling, so we can find jobs for a lot of these federal government workforce who have been displaced workers.
Who's hiring?
There are several companies hiring. You can go take a look at that website and find out that there are still companies who are hiring. We get job opportunities from other corporations and leads all the time. So there are still companies who are still hiring. Again, DC is still open. And so there are, this is a world-class destination with cultural institutions, with thriving restaurants and theaters. While some are closing, others are staying open, and some restaurants are doing well. Events are still happening, the theater, plays. So there are still opportunities in our hospitality industry, in our tech industry, in AI industry. And so there, again, I would encourage people to check out the resources that you can find on our website, on the DOES website, Department of Employment Services, and Department of Small and Local Businesses. Others, we're seeing people who want to start businesses and start their own business. And so that ecosystem around entrepreneurship is growing as well.
That's the thing that I was about to ask you. Everyone is familiar, for example, with the shutdown, the cheesecake ladies who during the government shutdown started this huge cheesecake business. Certainly not wanting to reinvent the wheel. I'm an apple pie guy myself, but call me if you've got a good recipe. But that's the point. I think when you're talking about people learning to pivot and to innovate, what is the chamber doing to help those people specifically?
Yeah, that is where we want to make it easy to get a business license. We have codified the BEST Act, and we've worked with our city agencies, Department of Licensing. So it's easy, whether it's for an occupational license, you're a hairdresser, a cosmetologist, a HVAC, an interior designer, to cut down some of the barriers that many have experienced before. Those are just some of the areas where we have made it easier to do business, to get a license. We're focused at the DC Chamber on empowering just to better serve a diverse business community. And this involves several key initiatives with growing our membership base. So while, we hear about a lot of the negative impacts that the federal government is having on businesses, we're seeing a growth in our membership base. We have brought on and recruited more than 150 new businesses to the DC Chamber. So that is something that we're excited about. We're focused on attracting tech companies and, again, ensuring that they have the resources and support they need. We are having a huge fundraising gala next year where we're honoring businesses who have done extremely well this year. Coordinate Construction is our Business of the Year. Brian Kenner at Amazon, our Business Leader of the Year. JP Morgan Chase and all the work they've done to support our economy, in the local economy here in Washington, D.C., and the investments they've made in underserved areas, particularly in Ward 7 and Ward 8. And then also Cedar Hill Hospital. They are a community impact awardee of ours. So there are still some bright spots, and there are some, opportunities to look forward to as we honor a lot of these businesses right here. And that's what the Chamber is happy to be able to support.
So here's a difficult question.
Mm-hmm.
You just mentioned Amazon. The headlines for Amazon this week are not good. And we realize, whether you like it or not, that AI is coming.
Mm-hmm.
With the use of AI, Amazon is firing 14,000 corporate level jobs, and for big companies like Amazon, particularly when you're talking about corporate level jobs, and a lot of the people who have been laid off have corporate level talents, even if they work for the federal government. When you're talking about senior executive service and and what have you, what do you tell them?
Embrace AI and find ways to learn AI, because it's the future of our city, our country, our region. I can't speak for Amazon. I'm not an Amazon employee, but we are here to support any of those workers who want to find other opportunities right here in our city and want to stay here. But I do believe that we should learn how to learn all the tools. We just had a tech summit last week where we talked about AI and support for small businesses. And at the Chamber, we plan to do more workshops and webinars and seminars so people can learn how to use AI and make it work for their business, because it can support and streamline some of your business efficiencies. And so I'm here to tell you to embrace it. And
tell me, that's interesting.
Learn how to make it work for you.
That's interesting. You said you had a tech summit last week. Obviously, that was week 3 of the shutdown. What did you hear at that tech summit as it relates to perhaps small businesses that you did not know before, and that even in this conversation, someone listening may be able to use?
That it doesn't have to, you don't have to spend a lot of money to learn AI, and that there's so many platforms and channels that you can use and embrace, and how it can support your business and just help you run your business more efficiently. And the sessions were recorded. So if anybody's interested in hearing more about what came out and just some gleanings from the Tech Summit, they can go to our website, and we can also connect any of your listeners to the DC Tech Startup Week sponsors of who hosted the event.
Again, when you talk about what has happened over the past 7 years or so, the shutdown in 2018, then the pandemic and all of the resources that were offered for both of those watershed moments. And now here we are again. You talk about, for example, bridge financing, and I wanted to specifically ask about that because I'm thinking if I'm a small business owner making my apple pies, for example,
Mhm.
and well, I got a bridge loan back in 2018, and I've been able to pay it off, and then the pandemic hit, and then I took advantage of that same loan, and now I've hopefully I've paid it off, or I've just paid it off, and my goodness, smacking my forehead, and here we are again, and
Mhm.
I cannot imagine the level of frustration when perhaps someone who had a successful business and prior to 2018 never had to take out another loan because they were self-sustaining, and now here we are again.
Right. It is. And the bridge financing and micro grants for business who are losing revenue. That's why this is so important to provide these resources, because that is exactly what's happening to some of them. And so, again, collaborating with our city leaders and city officials, there are resources out there to support those bridge loans. And for those who have to take out loans, how they continue to figure out how to finance their business and pay these loans back. These resources and tools that we can provide working with our local agencies are going to be an imperative for these businesses to survive.
So let's take those two things one at a time for those who do not know. So what is bridge financing?
So it's you can look at it a couple different ways. That some of the micro grants that we provide are grants that you may not necessarily have to pay back. But the bridge financing is more of a short-term loan that covers this sort of temporary gap in your funding until you can get longer-term financing.
So
that could be, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, please continue.
And so it can allow, whether it's a business, they take out a bridge loan to cover any expenses on rent, on salaries, or inventory until they get that larger funding.
I would assume, and you can help me with this, that the DC Chamber has banking partners who help facilitate this?
We have, yes. We just started a financial services committee. We have several banks who are on our board and are members of the chamber. And we provide and we partner with them on seminars, whether it's on financial literacy, on bridge financing loans, on revenue bonds, we run the gamut. So we provide these sorts of, for members and for non-members, workshops where you can learn and find out more about how to apply for bridge loans and what they mean for your business, and if this is the right path for your business.
Are these financial institutions, are they receptive to these kinds of things? I mean, I'm asking some of the inside baseball thing. Yeah. And the reason I ask is because as we have seen, even if you go to your banking app, wherever you bank, whether it's a credit union or a full service bank, everyone already knows that you've seen the language about the shutdown. Okay. When I made a call to my bank about just something. I don't even remember what it was. I was asking a question, and the real person, yes, I talked to a real person.
It wasn't AI.
It wasn't AI. But I was asked, is this in reference to the shutdown? And I was surprised because my question was not in reference to the shutdown.
What was your question?
I beg your pardon?
What was your question?
I'm trying to remember. I don't, you know what? I do remember. This was right around the time of the shutdown. I think this was during the first week where uh, M&T Bank was having an issue with, they were having some technical issue,
Mm,
and checks did not populate into accounts. But
mhm,
this was not, again, this was not a federal government shutdown thing. This was a computer bug, for lack of a
mhm,
better term, that they
mhm.
were wrestling with. But during that first week, they were already asking, whether or not this was a federal government shutdown issue,
Mm,
for me,
mm,
which it was not. And
mhm.
so, the reason, again, that I'm asking, it's one thing to really understand, but are those financial partners, are they kind of like, this is where we are and this is what we have to do?
And they are in a lot of these financial institutions, and it would be great for you to reach out to some of these banks to find out specifically what they are doing. But they are meeting people where they are, and they're finding creative ways for financing. I'm hearing stories of other, for their programs. I got an alert on my federal credit union that, hey, if you are impacted by federal government layoffs or furloughs, we have programs for you. We are here to support you. So I am seeing that from several banks and financial institutions finding ways to support federal government workers.
Mhm. Beyond your perch as, head of the DC chamber, certainly sometimes a boots on the ground observation can be particularly telling.
Yes.
And so, what have you seen when you step outside, of your office? Assuming that you have, taken that, a real walk, not a virtual walk. To, and again, I'm not kidding. Because that's, you
Oh,
know,
I believe in person meetings, in-person
yeah.
collaboration. I just had a meeting earlier today with a city official and some other colleagues at a coffee shop around the corner. It was
Mhm.
packed. The streets were bustling. I'm seeing traffic. I'm still in gridlock. So this is what I'm seeing. Now, I do know this isn't everywhere in every neighborhood, but where
Mhm.
I am downtown, it is still a busy streets, busy weekend. We're coming off Howard homecoming last weekend, and I would
Yes, I
love to.
think I saw you. No, I'm kidding. No,
Yeah.
go ahead.
And I would love to find out, the economic impact from Howard Homecoming, because that usually attracts people from all over the city, the country, the region, and what impact that had on restaurants and hotels and in our neighborhoods, even with the rideshare. How that may have spiked during that time. But when I walk out of my office here downtown,
Mhm.
I still do see workers, people in the office 4 or 5 days a week. We're in 5 days a week. And I'm hearing Castle swipe cards that they are back to pre-pandemic uh, rates and swipes.
Mm. So I am not an economist, but
Nor am I.
good. Um, so
I do know
we're
interest rates have been cut, and
yes, just today.
just today.
That is today's news.
That was today's
So
news.
from
Yeah.
your non-economist brain, what do you think that will be helpful? And again, let me provide a little context, some real life context. And even though this was not in the District of Columbia proper, just 2 weeks ago, my daughter went and purchased a car.
Oh, so she's okay.
And
These people are still buying cars. That's
well,
good.
that was one of the things that I was surprised about. This was out in Prince George's County. This was a dealership in Prince George's County. Same dealership she bought her last car back um, in 2022. But the difference is that her credit was almost non-existent then. It is, because she's a young person, she has
Hmm.
excellent credit now, but interest rates are
Hmm.
higher now. But I was just amazed that so many people, that the dealership was packed. And
See?
yeah, and so I'm just, again, from my non-economist brain as well, in the midst of where we are right now with the shutdown and a questionable economy because inflation remains stubborn, what is happening in the DMV from your perspective?
And I think the fact that the Federal Reserve has prioritized and lowered these interest rates to support what they see as this sluggish labor market. And I think, the goal really is to stimulate hiring, hopefully, and economic activity without completely sacrificing, any progress that's been made on inflation. And that's, again, why I want, and encourage people to check out the tools and resources out there to support these federal workforce transitions and the labor market here in DC, so we can keep people. Our goal is to keep workers here in the city, in the region. And whether that's starting a new business or finding other opportunities for reskilling and upskilling. So I think that, we should be in a better place next year. It might be, a tough few months, but we have to learn we've been here before. We're a strong, resilient business community. Let's adjust our sails and let's, weather this storm, because we can get to the other side.
A lot of people, particularly those federal government workers who are still working but are not getting paid, and we've spoken to not only officials but those who are the presidents and CEOs of their own households.
Yeah.
And they always, I hear this from everyone to a person. They say this shutdown is different. What are your concerns if this lasts beyond 35 days? What if this lasts well into November? That's the holiday season. That is, Christmas is coming. Beyond not being able to, let me tell my age, not being able to buy your kid a G.I. Joe with a Kung Fu grip.
Yeah.
What does that portend for the regional economy in DC specifically, if this continues for another 2 weeks or 3 weeks?
And, I'm not in the prediction business at all. And I know that a lot of people, and what I've heard just from talking to other economists and other people, this may feel different. The last shutdown lasted 34 days, 35 days.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we hope that we can get back to the business and that we can find a way to open the federal government and get people back to work. But at the same time, DC is here to support, because DC is still open. So we want to make sure that we're, again, providing resources and tools and support for the federal government workforce who have been impacted by these furloughs. I know I have several friends and family members who are impacted, and we're here to support them. So I hope that it does not go through the holiday season. And that's why it's so important for us to be a voice for business and to ensure we're doing everything we can with partnerships, with collaborating with our city officials to support where we are now.
Should this also perhaps be an opportunity, even for those businesses that are doing well, but have been around long enough to see how Washington works, that a plan needs to be in place for the next shutdown beyond this one?
And when you say a plan,
I'm talking about a business plan. If I get through this one,
then I can. Yeah.
Do I now have to include in my long range business plan? Do I have to develop a strategy for the difficult political headwinds that seem to always impact the bottom line for business?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And using this as sort of a case study or blueprint so that when we have to, God forbid, experience this again. If we do, that we now we're proactive and we have a strategy so we can change course and get through challenging times. As such, is the way we're in.
I have a few minutes more, but I really wanted to give you an opportunity to just kind of, even beyond what you've already shared tonight, what is the message for business owners and, dare I say, policymakers in order to help DC's economy recover from this?
Yes. Our small business owners, and as I've said this before, are the backbone of this economy. And we remain committed here at the Chamber to see these businesses grow, hire our local residents, and thrive. And we hope to be leading that way forward. We want to make sure that they have access to resources to get these grants that we've talked about, the financial assistance that they need, support the regulatory guidance, and cut some of the barriers that some business owners face, working with our city council members to ensure they're promoting legislation that is pro-growth, that is pro-business, that supports. Because without those businesses, I mean, that really supports our other social services and other, social and other services that keep our city thriving.
Yeah, the networks and the like.
Exactly. So my message is, we are here to, we're working closely with the mayor, with the deputy mayor's office during these times, and we're connecting all of those affected businesses and workers with key resources. And you can find out more information at our website at dcchamber.org.
And real quick, before I wrap up, again, this is still a relatively new position for you. Has this been a trial by fire?
I am still drinking from a fire hose. But there are bright spots. I don't want this to be all doom and gloom, Harold.
No, but I mean, like I said, a lot of people, look, let's be honest. This is, like you said, an 86, 87-year-old organization.
Yeah.
You have stepped in. This is a high-profile position, but and certainly there are highs and lows and the like. But some people would say, "Well, I didn't sign up for this part." Honestly, it's
it
like
comes with the territory. I know. I understand.
Does it come with the territory?
I know. Well, yeah, there were some things I didn't anticipate, but
right.
We have, it is still a gratifying position. I'm a native Washingtonian. It is energizing to be able to work in a city that I'm invested in. I'm raising children here. I pay taxes here. I am invested. I really truly support our business community. And I want to make sure that we have business-friendly laws and a pro-business agenda that is focused on growing our economy and moving our city forward. So while these are challenging times, we've seen some of this before. We have been through challenges, and we can get through if we really stick together. And, this year we have been focused on empowering our DC business community to better serve our diverse businesses. And this involves, several key initiatives, starting with growing our membership, in which we've been able to do with a record number of 150 new members, providing networking opportunities, hosting events. We have an annual meeting coming up where we're going to look at how we chart the course ahead and what next year looks like for our city and region. And we just hosted a State of the Business Region Summit in September, where we looked at the shifting economy and how we can support a comprehensive growth agenda that can benefit all 8 wards, how we can promote fiscal responsibility by enhancing ongoing efforts around economic development and job creation. So the Chamber's here to still support the business community through events, through networking opportunities, through resources, through tools, and through data and insights.
Well, I certainly wish you luck, and we are continuing to to watch not only what happens on Capitol Hill, but also what happens on the street, whether people are successful in finding new jobs. Hopefully, the shutdown will end and
Yes.
people will be able to go back to their jobs, and certainly, and if not, there may be a whole lot of apple pie recipes on the street. So you have to get it done. However, Chinyere Hubbard, President and CEO of the DC Chamber of Commerce, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Harold. I appreciate it.
That is the Daily Drum for this Wednesday, October 29th. I'm Harold Fisher. Good night.